How's it going, Dopamon fans? The World Juniors are set to start today in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and these are the top players you should watch out for the 2023 NHL entry draft. Of course, that's like 10 months away, but this is a big step for many prospects to get on scouts' radars. So, as usual, I'm going to be sticking to first-time draft eligible players only. There are some above agers that could get drafted that we can talk more about, but this isn't about them. If you're looking for a roster breakdown of the major national teams, you can find those on our channel, as well as my 2023 early mock draft rankings. But most importantly, don't forget to tell me who you're most excited about in the comment section down below, and without further ado, let's get on to this list. First, from Canada, Connor Bedard. Back in December, we saw him score 4 goals against Austria before the competition was cancelled. He went on to not only lead Canada's U18 team in points, but also lead the WHL in goals per game. He was a huge part of the original World Junior roster, and we're going to see him play an even bigger role on this one. He can play center or wing and is going to be all over the ice, likely leading the whole tournament in points. He's projected first overall in the 2023 draft, and there looks to be no real competition at the top. On to the United States, we have Charlie Stramel, another center, a true power forward who knows how to use his 6'3", 215-pound frame at both ends of the ice. He's strong on the puck and has the skills to match his intensity, finessing his way through opposing D, and has a nose for the net. Expect him to likely play a third-line center role for the US team, but if he figures out how to play against the older competition, he'll get a lot more ice time, as the US team kinda lacks the star firepower that Stramel projects to have. I have him ranked 8th in my pre-draft rankings, and he's generally regarded as a top 10 pick. Into Slovakia, we have Dalibor Dvorsky, another center, and along with Bedard is the most exciting draft prospect in this tournament. Despite scoring 0 points on a team that only scored 2 goals in 2 games back in December, both Dvorsky and Bedard project to be the 1A, 1B center for the respective teams, so eyes will be on both in a sort of head-to-head between the two prospects that I imagine will carry on even after the draft. And if you're a fan of the draft talent that's been coming out of Slovakia the past few years, I'm happy to say that I think Dvorsky is better than 2022 first overall pick Juraj Slafkovsky. He has the speed, the skill, and the sense to be a top center in the NHL one day, which is why he's already playing pro minutes in the Allsvenskan League in Sweden, the highest level of competition of any player on this roster. I currently have him ranked 4th in my pre-draft rankings and expect him to compete for a top 3 spot. Next out of Slovakia, we have Maxim Strbak, the first defender on my list and the best Slovakian defender in this year's draft. He played limited minutes on this team back in December, but with right-hand shot Simon Nemec not on this roster this time, there's a spot for Strbak to step up and play a much bigger role. He's more of a defensive defenseman, but he's got a strong shot and he's capable with the puck in all 3 zones. So watch for him as a standout on the back end, even if this team isn't playing well. I currently have him ranked 27th in my pre-draft rankings, but I could see him falling to the 2nd round. Again out of Slovakia, we have Samuiel Honzek, who was not at this competition in December. Generally a center, but at this competition, it's very possible that he's moved to the wing. At 6'3", he knows how to use his body to be physical and shows flashes of brilliance at times, but he can also just disappear for long stretches. He's fast and skilled, but still needs to work on his skating and the pacing of the game to be more consistent and turn those explosive moments into his regular style of play. Given that he's elected to play for the Vancouver Giants in the WHL next season, I think that's the perfect opportunity for him to figure out the pacing of the North American style of game and reach that potential. For now, I think on this roster he fits into a middle 6 kind of role. I have him ranked 32nd to end the 1st round of my pre-draft rankings, but I can also see him falling to maybe the 3rd or 4th round if he doesn't take that next step. The 4th and final Slovakian I have is Martin Misiak, and much like Samuiel Honzek before him, he's another big center that could play wing, who I project to fill a middle six role on this roster. He's very competitive and likes to physically muscle for the puck, whether that be down the middle of the ice or along the perimeter for rebounds, so I think he'll fit into any role they ask. I don't have him ranked in my top 50 pre-draft rankings, but I do see most scouts projecting him to be a third-round pick. On to Austria, we have David Reinbacher, the second and final defenseman on my list, who was at this competition back in December and scored an assist in that 11-2 loss to Canada. And he was only a -1 in that game. He was obviously outmatched by the Canadian talent, but still played well despite being a 17-year-old and showed lots of potential. So much potential that at the time that I had originally thought he was a draft-eligible player along with Marco Kasper and Vinzenz Ruller, so expect him to play a top 4 role in this competition, improving on his play from December. I have him ranked 34th in my pre-draft rankings, which might be a little bit high, but the potential is certainly there. Next, out of Austria, we have center Ian Scherzer. With former captain and center from December Marco Kasper out, there's a huge opportunity for Scherzer to step up down the middle. And much like Kasper, Scherzer's already playing in the top junior league in Sweden, the highest level of competition for any player on this roster. While he doesn't project to be a top 10 pick like Kasper, he still has an elite shot, smooth stick handling, and he's a great skater that will make him stand out on a weaker Austrian team. Finally, with Russia suspended from the competition, Latvia has taken its place, so don't expect this team to wow people. But Rainer's Rullers could really stand out, and not just because he's the tallest on the team. He's fast and skilled, and while most players on this team aren't playing in a Latvian league, in a Latvian system, Rullers was, and he was 4th in points among under 20 skaters in the top Latvian league, so there are still eyes on him, and he's expected to be the top Latvian prospect in the 2023 draft. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment down below which players you're most excited for. I will be doing a follow-up video after the tournament, including video on the players I really liked with an updated rankings as we prepare for our next mock draft on the channel, probably in late September. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you that have gotten this far, we're Dopamon, my best friend, and I talk hockey news, analysis, mock drafts, and scouting reports. We got coverage for international competitions like Halinka and the World Juniors, so don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to stick around for more dope hockey content, as we also have a lot more prepared for the NHL preseason. Stick around. Thank you. Peace.